5 things this week. Week ending June 21, 2020. First things. Dexamethasone. Recovery study by the University of Oxford has identified the drug dexamethasone, a low-dose corticosteroid, as an effective treatment in the battle against the pandemic. This is the first cheap, effective drug identified as having a beneficial effect. The results show that a third of deaths can be prevented for people on mechanical ventilation. The drug is an anti-inflammatory which counters the cytokine storm where the body's immune system effectively goes into overload to deal with infection. The cost of this drug is around $5 a day, with a treatment regime of up to 10 days. This means it can be afforded by all nations. Second thing. DDos attack on USA. On Tuesday 16 June, mobile carriers in the U.S. suffered outages lasting for hours. The hacker group Anonymous claimed that it was the result of a DDoS attack, however, this was quickly debunked by T-Mobile stating that it was caused by a configuration issue. This incident does serve as a wake-up call to the fragility of our dependence on communication systems. The inherent weakness of those systems must be addressed to ensure that they are not vulnerable to a technical issue like this, or indeed, an actual cyber attack. Third thing. 20 Indian soldiers beaten to death by Chinese. On Monday 15 June an incident took place which resulted in the deaths of 20 Indian troops, and a probable 35 of the Chinese contingent. The cause of the incident is the Chinese encroachment of Indian territory. When the Indian Army demolished a temporary camp constructed by the Chinese on Indian territory, the Indians were surrounded and attacked by the Chinese. The mainstream media categorizes these events as a border dispute, but this is disingenuous. The true categorization is Chinese aggression to assimilate another sovereign nation's territory. Fourth thing. Brexit will happen on the 31st of December 2020. Despite the efforts of the Remoaners and unpatriotic leftists, the UK will leave the EU as scheduled at the end of the year. While the EU continues to insist on tying the UK to EU rules post-Brexit through an unbalanced free trade agreement, the UK will not submit. Instead, the UK will press forward with trade agreements with historical trade allies in the Commonwealth such as Australia and New Zealand, and elsewhere. If there is no free trade agreement with the EU, no EU fishing boats will be allowed access to UK territorial waters. It is widely anticipated that EU boats will attempt to illegally continue access, which will lead to the Royal Navy being deployed to seize boats and apprehend the criminals. Fifth thing. 3 American supercarriers in the Pacific. The USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Theodore Roosevelt are patrolling the Western Pacific, whilst the Eastern Pacific has the USS Nimitz. The USS Ronald Reagan was loaded with over 1,000 tons of ordnance, causing it to sit 5 inches lower in the water. That is some serious firepower. China, of course, is not happy, but then, when are they? The presence of the 3 carrier strike groups negates the Beijing narrative of the U.S. Navy being weak due to the virus that it allowed to spread to the world after breaking out in Wuhan. The U.S. Pacific Fleet has also fully deployed its forward operating submarine fleet in the Western Pacific, an estimated 8 boats. In addition, a U.S. destroyer recently transited the Taiwan Strait, a C-40 transport plane overflew Taiwan, a number of freedom of navigation operations occurred in the South China Sea international waters, and B-1 bomber and surveillance flights have been conducted. China have received the message. It remains to be seen whether or not they will listen. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to be notified of new content.